Alright, we're gonna try this again because I recorded this the first time and the audio fucking sucked. So we're gonna try it again. Hopefully this is a bit better. You guys see what the video's on. It's basketball. There's still basketball on the channel. Shouldn't be surprising. NBA Finals just ended last night. I could have put the, well, I wasn't gonna make a video last night. The game ended kind of late. Had work. We're gonna put it up now, or we're gonna record it now. Hope we'll put it up as soon as we can. So, yeah, NBA Finals just finished last night. Obviously, you know, the OKC Thunder are your NBA champions. It was a good series. I enjoyed the series. A lot of people were kind of Thunder, Pacers, you know, two small market teams. I enjoyed it. I'm a fan of basketball. I would have enjoyed it regardless of who the two teams were at the end. I'm just glad we got a good series because at the beginning, the odds makers in Vegas had this Thunder in 4 or 5. I'm glad we got 7. But in that game 7, of course, first quarter, catalyst for the Pacers' run to the finals this year, Tyrese Halliburton, he got injured. Tore his Achilles. He was injured, you know, had a calf strain, very reminiscent of KD back in 2019 with the Warriors versus the Raptors. He had a calf strain, tore his Achilles in one of the later games of that series. Halliburton did this exact same thing. Can't fault him for that, of course. Said if he was walking, he wanted to play. He was walking, he played. It happens. Injuries are just part of the game. It's unfortunate, of course. You never want to see, you know, players go down with injuries, especially players of the level of one Tyrese Halliburton. But it's super unfortunate, actually. Super unfortunate. Last night will live in infamy for both franchises. Unfortunately, you know, Tyrese Halliburton's team, the Pacers, did not come out victorious. The Thunder did. We'll get into that a little bit later. But man, it's such a shame, man. It's such a shame. Halliburton was having a great game. 7 minutes in, he was 3 for 4 from 3. He was actually looking aggressive. 9 points through 7 minutes. It looked like we were really gonna have one of those phenomenal never forget game 7s. That's how it was looking before he went down with the injury. And of course, you know, when he went down with that injury, it felt like the whole basketball world just kind of stopped in place. He did so much unforgettable shit in this playoff run. 3 game winners. They weren't favored in any of the series that they played in. Made the finals. I don't think anyone really expected that before the playoffs had started. But yeah, I mean, he had a phenomenal postseason. It sucks that it ended the way it did for him, as well as the Pacers. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a night that's going to live in infamy. It's always going to be a what if. For the Pacers, for the Thunder. I'm sure you'll see kind of those videos, those what if videos that people do on the 2K Sims. I'm a little excited for that. But let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. It sucks. It really does suck. Tore his Achilles. Achilles are more than ACLs now. I feel Achilles are the worst injury an athlete can get. He'll be out 9 to 12 months. He will not play next season at all whatsoever. And you really just have to think what could have happened if he did play the whole game. He was looking dominant, man. He really was. It's such a shame. I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it probably for the rest of the video. It really, as basketball fans, we were robbed. We were really robbed. I know people were saying oh, you know, the Pacers sold their soul or whatever. Halliburton sold his soul. Siakam sold his soul just to get here. Think what you will about that. I mean, it's just, you know, internet memes, internet conspiracies. But these are people at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine what he's going through. I can only imagine what that team's going through. It's at the end of the day, it's just a shame. It really is. In terms of the Thunder, I saw a lot of people discrediting their title after the injury. Before they even won the game, after the injury. The series was 3-3. The game was very close when he went down. Obviously, you can say it could have gone one way or the other, but realistically, the Thunder did what they had to do to win 4 of 7 games. You can't take that away from them. They won the 3. Like I said, the series was tied 3-3 before the injury. It was a non-contact injury. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, the Thunder should have won the series. They were favored certainly to win the series in 4 or 5 before the series had started. Obviously, this was not the result that Thunder fans were expecting it going to 7. Like I said, I'm glad it went to 7. I'm sure a lot of basketball fans are glad the series was as good as it was. But, I mean, at the end of the day, they won the finals. This is one of the best teams I feel we've ever seen. 68 wins, had a phenomenal defense. Phenomenal team, really, from top to bottom. How deep they were, how deep both of these teams really were. It goes to show kind of how teams need to be structured to win in this kind of new salary cap era with like the second apron, with the first and second aprons. But yeah, great team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, their front runner, their front man. He just capped off an incredible season himself. League MVP, scoring title, Finals MVP. He's in a very, very small list of people to do that. So regardless of what you want to say about him, regardless of how you think he plays, I think the way he plays is phenomenal. Obviously, it's conducive to winning, at least this year. Regardless of what you want to say about him, he is one of the best players that this game has to offer. One of the best players in the league. And after last night, he definitely shoots up in all-time rankings. Obviously, I'm not sure where. I'm not going to go into that. But he is better than a lot of your favorite players, at least that play currently. Hold for a couple of names. But yeah, like I said, 68 wins. This is one of the best regular season teams we've seen in a while. One of the best, obviously, single seasons we've seen from a team in a while. They deserve it. I'm glad they, got over the hump, because after last year, people were kind of expecting them to make at least the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, they got dealt with by the Mavs, who made the finals. But yeah, this could be the first of many for them, which is interesting to say the least, especially, like I said, in this day and age where it's kind of hard to keep continuity with the first and second aprons with the salary cap and such. We'll see it this offseason with the Boston Celtics. It looks like they're kind of going to shake up a little of their roster, kind of because they have to. I'm sure the Thunder are going to be no different. Shai is going to be eligible for a massive, massive contract extension because he's been All-NBA, and of course because he won the league MVP this season. So it'll be interesting to see how their team looks next year and from years to come. Obviously, they have their massive assortment of draft capital that Sam Presti's kind of sitting on. I saw, before the series ended that they could have traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo from Milwaukee. And obviously, they still could. I'm not sure, how them winning a ring is going to kind of change how they view the offseason. But it'll be interesting to see kind of what these good teams, these kind of deep playoff teams kind of do going forward. And, because we're kind of in the first couple of years of this first and second apron, teams are going to have to move off money. They don't want to be in the second apron. I'm not going to go into all that stuff, but if you go past the second apron, you're losing draft picks, you're losing salary, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for sure. In terms of the Indiana Pacers, I don't know they'll probably be a playoff team next year. Obviously, like I said earlier, Halliburton's not going to play at all next season, if I had to guess. Like I said, he'll be out 9 to 12 months with that Achilles injury. Of course, there could be, obviously, fingers crossed, but there, might be setbacks and stuff with that. We're looking at 2026 for him to return. We'll like the start of the 2026-27 season to return. That roster could look completely different. A year of those players kind of being in a bigger role, having to do more. They're gonna want more money. Obviously, this offseason, as well as the next offseason, like when they are in that bigger role. it'll be, like I said with the Thunder, it'll be interesting how these teams kind of keep the continuity, kind of decide who is going to stay, who's going to leave. But they're going to be a good team as long as Halliburton's there, as long as the core is there. Him and Siakam, they'll be in the playoffs. Maybe not. Probably next year. Definitely, I'm assuming the year after. Obviously save for injuries and stuff like that. But the East is kind of wide open now. Halliburton tearing his Achilles in the finals. Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and the uncertainty in Milwaukee with Giannis Antetokounmpo. It seems like he wants a move. Seems like teams could be willing to send the house for him, as well as Damian Lillard. He tore his Achilles in the first round against the Pacers. So a lot of shakeup, at least for next year. Obviously, the Cavs are going to be back. Well, I guess the offseason, we're not totally sure. Looks like the Cavs are going to be back. Looks like the Knicks are going to be back. They don't have a head coach right now, which is going to be interesting because the draft is in 2 days. But the core is still there. They're going to be just fine. But for right now, there's not like a dominant team in the East. The offseason is going to be super interesting, that's for sure. Obviously, teams like the Sixers are going to be kind of back, assuming everything goes well with Embiid's health and whatever may or may not happen with Paul George. In terms of the West, that's a crapshoot. There's so many good teams in the Western Conference. I can't help but go back to the Halliburton thing, man. Like, they probably would have won yesterday. They probably would have a title if Halliburton did play. Obviously, the what if game is a very slippery slope. The what if Halliburton didn't get injured? What if we'll see those videos, of course. It's such a shame we didn't get to see that Game 7. Though. That could have been a Game 7 for ages, man. It really felt like those teams were going to go back and forth kind of throughout the game. I really think we would have had one of the best Game 7s. Up with like the 2016 one, Cavs and Warriors. That iconic game. I really felt like we were going to see something similar last night. It was a big hit. It really was. And obviously, you hate to see players like that go down. Especially the fun players like him, where the game runs through players like him. Players like Halliburton, players like Shea. Like, we were going to see two heavyweights really, really go at it. It's such a shame that we kind of got that taken from us. In terms of the Pacers, though, it's going to sound bad, but I really have no idea what would have happened if the Pacers did end up winning, especially if they ended up winning without Halliburton. The dialogue, I'm sure the talking heads would have been going crazy. They probably wouldn't have even covered it, actually. They probably would have gotten coverage today, maybe tomorrow. But a team like the Pacers, it doesn't really bring in the ratings. That team like that, a bigger market team like the Lakers, the Knicks, teams like that really draw. So Thunder were probably best case scenario in this situation. I could rant about the media all day. I'm not going to do that. But it's just a shame. It really is a shame. But the Thunder were victorious. You can't take that away from them. Like I said, they had a great season. A lot of people had them winning. And honestly, when you look back in a couple of years, it's I'm not gonna say it's gonna make sense. Because they were such a great team. I feel like the series is always going to carry a little bit of an asterisk. And of course, you know how people are. You know how social media is. They're going to take it and run. But in a couple of years, I think, obviously it's legit. I think it's legit. A lot of people are going to say it's legit. If you actually, care about basketball, you're going to say it's legit. It's such a shame, though. It really is. It really is. But yeah, bit of a shorter video, I believe. I don't know how long I've been recording this so far. But yeah, just wanted to get my thoughts out. Like I said, didn't want to record yesterday. But, if you like the video, do all the, cliche YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any video topics for me, please, I beg. I know I say this at the end of every video. Let me know. If I have enough content on it, I'll definitely try to make it happen. I do want to be a man of the people. I might see another video this week. I'm not going to, lock it down, because, I do have some ideas for stuff, but we'll get into that when we get into it, essentially. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, obviously, like, comment, subscribe, do all that other stuff. But yeah, peace.